K2 or Shigori is the world's second highest mountain, after Everest, 8,048 meters. Unlike Everest and the 8 other highest mountains on Earth, K2 is not located in the Himalaya, however, but in Pakistan's Karakoram. K2 is situated on the border of the Pakistani Kashmir region Gilgit-Baltistan, and a slice of Kashmir administered by China as part of Xinjiang. All 14 of the world's 8,000-meter peaks, and the vast majority of the 100 highest mountains on the planet, are located in either the Karakoram or Himalaya. Also known as the Savage Mountain, K2 is generally considered among the most difficult of the world's 8,000 ers, and its death rate was historically one of the highest of all 14 mountains, along with Annapurna I, 8,091 meters, and Nanga Parbat, 8,126 meters. The former sits at a death rate of approximately 25%, while Parbat and K2 have traditionally held death rates in the low 20%. However, swarms of K2 ascents in recent years, notably in 2022, are contributing to lowering the K2's overall death rate, which currently sits around 13%. K2 was the last of the 8,000-meter peaks to see a winter ascent, in 2021. While its difficulty and technicality have traditionally deterred the swarms of amateur mountaineers that flock to Everest, K2 has rapidly commercialized in recent years. K2 was originally surveyed by a British team in 1856, christened K2 as it was the second main peak of the Karakoram that was mapped. The other principal Karakoram summits were originally named likewise, K1, K3, K4, and K5, but today are known as Masherbrum, 7,821 meters, Gasherbrum IV, 7,925 meters, Gasherbrum II, 8,035 meters, and Gasherbrum I, 8,080 meters, respectively. By far the most popular route on K2 is the Abruzzi Spur, or the Southeast Ridge, which begins on the Pakistani side of the mountain. This is the same route that was used for the peak's first ascent in 1954. Over 75% of all K2 climbers take this route, which follows a ridgeline beginning at around 17,700 feet. It presents several technical and exposed sections, including the 100-foot crack houses chimney and the Black Pyramid, a large arête protruding from the main spur. Another well-known feature is the Bottleneck Couloir, a slope approximately 1,300 feet below the summit, which is overhung by a number of unstable seracs. The second most popular route is the Season, which runs just west of the Abruzzi Spur. It was pioneered by Slovenian climber Tomo Season, who soloed the line in 1984 to 26,000 feet. The Season avoids some of the technical obstacles lower down on the Abruzzi, but is significantly steeper and features increased rockfall and avalanche risk. It connects with the Abruzzi Spur around 60% of the way up the peak. Interesting facts about K2. K2 is a famous mountain, 28,253 feet, 8,612 meters, in the Karakoram mountain range, second only to Mount Everest in the world in terms of height above sea level. The K2 mountain is also very prominent, towering 13,179 feet, 4,017 meters, above its surrounding terrain, ranking it the 22nd most prominent mountain in the world, more prominent than Everest. K2 was originally named as such by a British surveyor named T.G. Montgomery back in 1852. The K was in reference to the Karakoram mountain range, and the 2, referring to the fact that it was the second peak recorded in the region. K2 mountain remains the most publicized name to this day, though the mountain is known under a variety of different monikers. For instance, the Chinese call it Kozhir, meaning Great Mountain, the Tibetans, Shigori, meaning Large Mountain, whilst others refer to it as Mount Godwin Austen after Henry Godwin Austen, an early explorer of the mountain range. In 1986, an expedition led by George Wallenstein incorrectly labeled K2 as the tallest mountain in the world, taller than Everest. 1 year later, a corrective measurement was made, though by that point a number of news outlets and publishers had cited K2 as the world's tallest. Though Everest is in fact 800 featuring 244 meters taller, there can be no argument that K2 is on another level in terms of danger, with a fatality rate of approximately 25% compared to Everest's minute in comparison 5%. Furthermore, no person has ever attempted to ascend K2 in winter, meaning the fatality rate during this season would likely far surpass the current 25% experienced. The Italian climber, Ardito De Zio, led the first successful ascent of K2 mountain in July 1954. However, it was a controversial climb, with only 2 members of the team actually reaching the summit. Since that date, Wanda Rutkiewicz from Poland became the first woman to successfully climb the K2 peak in June 1986, whilst the Spanish climber, Carlos Soria Fonten, became the oldest successful mountaineer to date, reaching the peak at age 65, in 2004. In contrast to the increasing commerciality of Mount Everest, K2 remains a challenge that represents the historical spirit of climbing. However, the level of skill required and the tremendous danger present put the mountain out of reach for all but the most technically advanced, determined mountaineers. Located in Pakistan's part of the Karakoram Range, K2 is the last of the world's 14 tallest mountains, all higher than 8,000 meters to be climbed in winter. It is considered by far the most difficult and dangerous because of the technical climbing required to reach the top. It is a rocky mountain up to 6,000 meters, beyond which it becomes an ocean of snow. The traditional route to base camp goes from Skardu, which is linked with Islamabad by a good road. From Skardu the route goes via Shagar Dasu Askol up to Concordia over the Baltoro Glacier. There are glaciers 30 and 40 miles long on its flanks. First discovered and measured by the Survey of India in 1856, the mountain's name is taken from the first letter of Karakoram, and the number indicates that it was the second peak in the range to be measured. Everything in Pakistan starts from the capital of Islamabad. There are numerous hotels to stay at in Islamabad, but a couple used by climbers are the Envoy, Shalimar and Royal Inn. You will need to get trekking permits there. Then off to Skardu by plane if weather is good, or by the famous Karakoram Highway, the Old Silk Route, if weather is bad. If you fly to Skardu you will also see the 9th highest mountain in the world, Nanga Parbat. If you go by land it is a 2-day trip with a stopover usually near Gilgit, the romantic area thought of as Shangri-La, and near Hunza the people noted for living longer than any others in the world. Be prepared for delays here as this is a rather primitive area. This is one trip where I would feel more comfortable as part of a larger group, as stories of robbery abound all along this notorious highway.